Hi. So I thought I would make a little video about there's a bird. I'd make a little video about how I pull tarot cards, how I read tarot. Some of you might have tarot decks at home right now and you're looking for something to do. A couple of people have mentioned that they have their own decks that they've never really known how to use. I had a tarot deck for a long time before I kind of really used it and knew how to use it. I'm by no means an expert, but I'm self-taught. I've just read a lot of books and I've collected a lot of tarot decks and things like that and had my tarot cards read quite a few times. Some of them really good reading, some of them just like complete rubbish. I had my cards read by a woman in New Orleans and I thought, right, this is it. This is going to be the proper good stuff, right? Oh, she was awful. She was like, well, this card is good, this card is bad, and like no explanation about anything. I paid a lot of money for it too. She gave me a CD of it so I can listen to it. Why I would want to do that, I don't know. Anyway, I thought I would show you how I read cards. So there's a lot of things that people say about tarot decks, like you must never buy your own tarot deck, someone must give it to you, you should keep them wrapped in a silk scarf, you should only cut the deck with your left hand. I've tried all these things and I've found them to be completely impractical for me. Silk scarves are really slippy and the cards disappear, they just slide off somewhere. If I waited for someone to buy me a tarot deck, I'd still be waiting. I have about 50 or 60 that I've collected over the years and I bought every single one of them for myself. And yeah, left hand, I'm right-handed. It just feels really weird to, I'm also not very good at shuffling, so that's something that I just kind of do like this a little bit. So if you want to read a tarot, do a tarot reading for yourself or for someone else, there are spreads that you can use. You can look up a lot of them online. There's one called Celtic Cross, which is quite nice, and I use a sort of modified version of that for myself sometimes or for other people. That's usually my go-to one. There's also, you can just pull 3 cards, one for past, one for present, one for future. You can also just pull a card. Quite a good thing to do is pull one every day and have a little look at it and think about it that day, about how that might apply to you or how you might gain some wisdom or encouragement or whatever from that card. Or you can just make up whatever you want. You can use the cards to represent different questions. If you're asking a kind of yes or no question, it's a little bit more tricky to get anything kind of specific from there. So usually instead of saying like, how am I going to get this thing or not, I will ask more like, I really want this thing. How do I try and get it? What can I do to kind of manifest that in my life? Right now I'm just going to do a really quick reading for career. So I'm an illustrator. I've kind of been out of the game for a little while, even though I have had 2 books published in the past year or 2, which is kind of weird for being out of the game. But I've been pregnant, I've had a baby, I've been very busy, and then I had to get this stuff done. I didn't kind of like go looking for it really. It just sort of kind of all happened at once. But I'm a kind of person where my career really defines who I am, and it's quite difficult for me when I don't have time to be creative in the way that I want to be. I have all these ideas and I feel them like prickling under my skin. It's like a physical, vivid feeling, and since having a baby, it's been very difficult to find time to do things. I just got to a place before coronavirus where I was kind of setting things up so that I could actually start having more time. We had childcare, we had more of a routine, and I was really going to start doing projects. I got a place to do a textiles foundation degree in September. I have no idea whether that's still going ahead. So yeah, it's a little kind of disappointing and frustrating, as I felt like things were finally gonna take off and I was really gonna have the time to rediscover myself instead of just myself as a mother. So I want to do like a very brief career reading. So this card is going to be represent my goals. This is going to be tools within myself that I can use, and this is going to be things from the outside or from other people or help that I can have, or how I should go about that. So just a really basic one. So this one was goals. The Ace of Wands. So Wands is, as I said before, represents creativity. We have all these lovely leaves, shoots coming off here, which represent that kind of bursting forth new life, new creative ideas, just that kind of energy of it. And all the ace cups, all the ace suits, sorry, have a hand offering that particular suit. So in this case, he's offering this staff, this wand, and it's this kind of hand from a blue, from the blue. Sorry, I can't talk today. So it's offering forth something out of the blue, something from kind of like some people would say it's like a divine thing. It's like from the gods. But this kind of represents looking everywhere, looking within yourself, and sort of trusting that you have this kind of ability. So if this is about my goals in myself, one thing I would maybe think about with this is that I doubt myself a lot, and I doubt my creativity, and I doubt my abilities. Sometimes I can sit down and paint a picture, and I don't paint very often. Sometimes I can sit down and paint a picture, and I won't have painted for about 6 or 7 years, and I paint an amazing picture first time, and then I try again, and it's just gone. There are always times where I sit down and I try to be creative in one way or another, and it's like whatever spark I had feels like it's just gone. Whatever ability and experience I had is just poof, disappeared, and I'm just like a 4-year-old with a crayon again, trying to draw inside the lines, which I always got told off for because I wasn't able to stay within the lines in colouring in primary school. So for me, this card feels like it would be about like trusting that within myself I have this kind of never-ending creativity that just doesn't go away, even if you don't tend it and you don't kind of nurture it. It's still there within me. If I take a break from it, if I find that life is too overwhelming for me to be creative right now, that I still have that within me. And if this is a goal, that would be a really good place to get to, where I had that kind of confidence in myself and in my abilities, that I could be creative and I could summon this at any time and not feel like it's a race or like my time is running out, because it does often feel like that like you have an opportunity and then you expect it to be like bam, 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 all these things happening straight afterwards. And then if it doesn't happen, it can feel like just like a wet squib where you're like, oh great, well that was my big break and that's gone, what am I going to do? So my goal then with my career, if this card is kind of representing that, is to really trust in my creativity and my abilities. This is the tools that I have within myself. Oh, I don't know how I'm going to figure out this one. This is the 5 of Swords. So swords are thoughts and mental clarity usually. In this card you can see this guy here, it looks like after a battle and he's beaten these guys. These clouds here feel very much like, they're just clearing, like there's been this sort of dark sky, and suddenly the clouds are just like moving away. So it's sort of, there's a lot of like wind and energy. You can see his tunic is kind of like wafting in the breeze, and his hair is, and like there's a lot of kind of energy. The water behind him, usually water, as I said, represents emotions. And when you're reading tarot, a lot of the cards will have water in the background, a stream or an ocean or a lake or something, and you should pay attention to how still or not still the water is. Sometimes it's big waves, and that represents like choppy emotions, and this represents it's not like smooth, but it's calming. So it very much this feeling of like there has been this big thing and now it's dispersing. But this guy has beaten these guys and he's taking their swords and he's looking really chuffed with himself, like he's just taken things. This is a tool within myself. I don't really know, because this isn't a very nice card. This is a card of like taking things. But then maybe if it's a tool within if it's something, an ability or something that I have within myself, maybe something that I really need to work on is being a little bit more firm about my boundaries, especially in terms of my time. I do find it very difficult to ask for help or to let other people look after my daughter. Not in a kind of emotional way. Like, I'm happy for her to be with other people, and she's very good at being with other people and always has been. But I do find it like this kind of idea that like I'm the mother, so I should be the one who's looking after all the time. Not even her dad, me, because I'm the mother, which is really like difficult thing to deal with, especially if you have other needs and thoughts and things that you want to do with your time. So many people love being stay-at-home mums, and that's great, but I'm really not one of them. And even saying that makes me feel like I'm just like this horrible, unfeeling, uncaring, like hag of a woman for saying that I don't like just being a mum. I love being a mum, but I also love being an artist, and I love being an independent person, independent of my daughter. So maybe this represents me needing to be like a little bit more selfish with my time and say, actually, no, you know, she can go and someone else can look after her. It's your turn. You can look after the baby. And oh, Porthos is coming. Hi. And I can just kind of have a little bit of time to do my thing. This is this is the card that represents. It's all right, Mum. You can come this way if you want. This is the card that represents things I can find outside of myself. So this is the Hanged Man. As you can see, he's hanging upside down. He looks pretty chill about it. This card always reminds me of Odin in Norse mythology, and he hung himself, I'm not sure if it was upside down or just hung himself from Yggdrasil, which is the kind of world tree, and he did that, I believe, to kind of gain knowledge and wisdom. And in my tarot, I've been designing a tarot deck, and in my card, they're all women, because I've decided they're all women or sort of femme people, and she's hanging upside down, and she has 2 ravens on her, and they're to represent Odin's ravens, and she also has one eye. One is kind of like closed over, because Odin gave up his eye, one of his eyes, for knowledge and wisdom and magic power, for magic spells and magic knowledge. This card is about taking a break and kind of sort of forcing yourself to be immobile and to think about things from a different perspective, but just take like a little bit of a time out. He can't do anything right now but think. This guy looks like he could get out of there pretty easily. He's not, you know, he looks like he's pretty chill. He looks like he's kind of almost like meditating in that position. So this for me is like a card of kind of, time out and taking a break and kind of really meditating on things and thinking about things. This is a card representing what I can get from other people. I mean, I guess other people's advice that they have like hard won, they have gained from their own kind of really deep thinking and exploration of stuff is something that I could kind of take from that. Maybe even again, going back to this card about being selfish, it's like, if I want to take some time out to think about things, I can ask other people to help carry the load while I'm taking a bit of time to just figure myself out and what I want to do creatively, and take the time to plan things and not just kind of rush into it, which I've never been very good at planning. I'm good at planning everywhere else, but not creatively. I don't want to read the instructions on things. I don't want to do preparatory sketches and work through things and research. I just want to paint the picture, or I just want to do the thing, or make this dress or this hat, or you know, this piece of embroidery or this drawing. And often that ends up with me just making a really bad job of it and getting really frustrated, because it takes a lot of time that I've spent on it, and now it's just wasted and I don't have that much time anymore. So maybe this is a card for me to representing the fact that I need to ask other people to take a bit of that load, so that I can take some time out to really like think about things and decide what I want to do. So that was a really brief at 13.5 minutes long, but that was a brief reading. Like I said, I'm self-taught, I'm not an expert. This is just really what I see in the cards, and I encourage you, if you are reading cards for yourself, it's great to read the guidebooks and read what you think things are. There's a really good resource called Biddy Tarot online, and I really love her explanations of stuff. She's very like practical and pragmatic about things, but really the best thing is to look at the cards yourself and see what you see in there, because what you see in there is going to be different from what I see in there or what anyone else sees in there. So use your own intuition, your own kind of knowledge, and tell the story that you want to tell. Have a think about what you want to get from this. Okay, bye, thank you, see you soon.